just doing some warm-ups. Very important for any workout, especially with shoulders. So now that a little bit of the warm-up mobility is out of the way, a little bit of stretching, kind of waking the muscles up, waking your mind up, getting that mind-muscle connection, we are gonna be starting with some overhead press. The big compound movement for the shoulders. Classic, can't go really wrong with it. We're gonna start a little light with a few warm-up sets in that specific movement to make sure we feel good and ready to move on to the heavy weight. Good. Oh yeah. That felt pretty good. One thing about the overhead press is you'll notice you have to kind of get the proper positioning in your shoulder, the scapula, and it is, much like we say a lot of times in the past, kind of pulling those shoulder blades back, kind of retracting the scapula in the beginning in the starting position, because that's not only gonna help contract the muscles to stabilize the bar, it's gonna put the bar in the proper position too. So if you'll notice, if you keep your shoulders forward, the bar is gonna tend to ride forward here, but if you squeeze your shoulder blades back, it brings the bar closer, right in the proper position, right to the clavicle here, to the nape of the neck. Because if it's starting and the position is away from you, immediately that's pulling your center of gravity away and want you to kind of like dip forward. But if you pull your shoulder blades back, it's gonna pull the bar closer, it's gonna go right in the center of gravity there, it's gonna allow you for a better, stronger push. But one thing to remember, of course, is to kind of dip your head out of the way as you push straight up and then return back to the bottom position there. And one thing too is don't watch the bar as you're pressing up, because it's gonna kind of ruin that whole positioning of the body. Make sure you just keep that neutral chin, look straight ahead, and be confident in getting that straight push all the way at the top. But that's why you start a little lighter. Because if you go heavy right away, you might struggle, you might be, lacking the confidence in your positioning, form, and your strength. So keep it light and really get confident with that movement, the positioning of the shoulder, retracting it back, getting the full extension, even elevation to the top, and then drop down back to the bottom position. Ready to go again, baby. Yeah. Reverse upright row is kind of an odd exercise, maybe not one everyone is familiar with, but it's essentially working on a shoulder extension. So if you're extending back here, that's one of the major movements of the posterior delt here, is bringing that joint back behind you there, extending it back. The other way is flexion here. So as you can see, even just doing that, you'll immediately feel that posterior deltoid contract. It has to, because it's bringing that joint in that position there. And so essentially what we're doing is the same and a similar motion with the reverse upright rows, but you're gonna utilize a bit of the elbow movement too. So there's gonna be a little bit of the motion in the elbow. So it would be considered a compound movement there. But you do wanna try to bring that shoulder joint back, extending it back there, and that's when you get the maximum contraction in the posterior delt, rear delt, and also the traps too. So you'll see just kind of grabbing a shoulder width grip here. And it's not a really far range of motion here. And you can get a little shrug in there too to have a little extra activation in the traps there. But as you can see, you'll kind of bring that shoulder joint back in that extended position. And that's what really helps hit those rear delts. Feel that burn right away. And of course, we're supersetting, keeping that heart rate up and really exhausting the shoulders here. And we're gonna be hitting the lateral raises, of course. It starts burning real quick. Oh yeah, it's the buff dude's way. Supersets, baby. Supersetting right to buffness. We don't have a cable machine, as you can see in this gym, at least yet. So we have to improvise a bit with some bands because we're gonna be doing some face pulls. Now you can also do face pulls with a barbell, which we've done in the past, but we're switching things up a little bit with these resistant bands, and it's pretty simple. As you can see, yeah, kind of like a pull-up bar to connect it to. Just kind of loop it through, be grabbing it with both hands, and the closer you grab it, of course, the more tension or the more, I guess, resistance you're gonna have as you pull it closer. So, and you can also always grab a thicker band too. So another way to adjust it pretty easily is just kind of step further back. Farther you step back, of course, the more resistance, the harder it's gonna be. So you kind of pick that right positioning for you to make it the most comfortable, but also having enough resistance so when you hit your kind of right rep scheme, you're gonna feel a little fatigue in there and definitely like make those muscles work. So I'm gonna staggered stance here to support myself. Pull it straight to the forehead. As you can see, the hands are kind of in line with the forehead there. Elbows are dropping just a little bit, but you still want to flare really wide. And you want to pull those shoulders back and nice squeeze. You're gonna feel it in those rear delts and also the traps too. Main thing is really retract that scapula back, kind of pop that chest up, and you'll get the full benefit. Nice squeeze in there. Slight hold. Oh yeah. Oh, feeling that burn. That's quite a bit of burn. And we're gonna be supersetting it with an isolation exercise. It's gonna be the front raises. And now you can do it with dumbbells, of course. You can do it unilateral or bilateral. We're doing a bilateral movement, but we're doing it with the plate. And as you can see, we're doing the bumper plate. Now this makes it a little bit more difficult because you can see how thick that grip is. You're really gonna have to grip this really tight and make sure it's not gonna slip out from your hands. And you're just going to be, I like to go a bit above parallel. I feel like it contracts my traps a little bit more. You can go just parallel to the floor, then go back down, or get a little full range of motion and bring it all the way to the top and then slowly back down too. Now you want to do it nice and slow too. As you can see, the plate is pretty much going to rest right on the important bits. So you want to go real slow, kind of try to touch the thighs there and not slam your buff dude balls. A quick and very effective superset. Face pulls, right? The plate front raises. And sometimes you'll notice too, adding in with the dumbbells, palms facing down to raise them, sometimes there can be a little bit of an uncomfortable positioning in there. So having your thumbs pointed up can sometimes free that joint up a little bit, make it a bit more easier for you, more comfortable. So doing it with the plate, as hard as it can be, it also can be a little bit more comfortable with the shoulders. So you should definitely try it out in the future. See what works for you. But of course with the dumbbells, you can always hold them with thumbs up too. That's a good thing about dumbbells. You can kind of change that positioning, palms up, kind of neutral grip, or palms down to get the most effective positioning for you. So definitely feeling the delts, so baby, yeah.
For our final exercise, we gotta head over to the Buff Dude's weapon rack. Which of these fine pieces of metal should we pick from today? I think we're gonna go with these bad boys. With some farmer holds. Grip strength, traps. Hell yeah, building that Buff Dude physique. But first we gotta load it up with some weight.
That'll work on your grip strength, wow. Whew, a lot harder than it looks. And we're just staying here, being stationary. Of course, you can add farmer walks into it too, which we definitely will utilize these bars in the future. But right now, we're just really trying to get these holds. Gonna try to shrug as much as you can to get track the traps, make sure they're kind of stabilizing that bar. But realistically, it's gonna be your forearms that are probably gonna burn out first. Whew, it's a good one though. There we go, just finished the delts, traps, and added some forearms in here too. You know, of course, something like this does work your traps, a little bit in your delts, but yeah, as I was saying, those forearms are like fire, but it's good. It's always good kind of testing yourself and pushing yourself to the limit and working on those weak points. So there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this deltoid workout and join us next time. And as always, stay buff.